You may have a lifetime of memories, boxes of photos, and stories that you'd like your family to know. But every time you think about getting organized, the whole project feels so large that you don't know where to begin. Perhaps you think you need to start at the beginning of your life and put everything into chronological order, identifying hundreds of photos and somehow turning it into a complete autobiography. But what if you didn't have to document your entire life? What if you began with just one story? Welcome to the first video in this 5-part series about turning your memories, photographs, and personal experiences into digital stories that can be shared with the people who matter to you. Throughout this series, I'll show you how to choose a story, write it, record it, add photographs, and share the finished project online without needing advanced technical skills. And by the end of the first video, I'll give you one simple sentence that can help you choose the very first story that you want to preserve. Many people want to preserve their stories, but they never quite know how to get started. It isn't because their memories aren't important, and it isn't because they don't care about sharing them. It's often because the project they are imagining is simply too large. They picture writing an entire autobiography, starting with their birth, moving through childhood, school, work, relationships, family, travel, accomplishments, and everything else that's happened along the way. This is a very large project. Then there are the photographs. Some may be in albums, others in boxes, and many more may be stored on a phone or a computer. There may even be photographs belonging to other family members that you haven't seen in years. When you believe that everything must be collected, organized, and placed in the correct folder before you can begin, it's easy to keep postponing the project. The problem is not that you don't have enough material. The problem is that you have too much material and no clear first step. So, how do you make the project manageable? You change the size of the project. Instead of trying to write your entire autobiography, begin by thinking about individual stories. One story can focus on a particular person who influenced your life. It could be about a place you remember, a family tradition, a childhood adventure, your first job, an important relationship, or a decision that changed your direction. A story does not need to cover an entire decade. It may describe something that happened in a single day or even in a few minutes. And it doesn't need to be about a dramatic or historically important event. The ordinary moments are often the stories family members value the most. They may want to know about what your Sunday dinner was like in your home, how you met, your closest friend, or what your parents thought about you, why you chose your career, or what happened during a family holiday dinner that everyone still remembers, although they may have differing memories about the same events. What matters here is that you are telling your story. These smaller stories help your family understand not only what happened in your life, but also who you were, what you cared about, and how your experiences shaped you. When you begin thinking in individual stories, the project changes. You are no longer facing the enormous task of documenting an entire lifetime. You are choosing one memory and giving it the attention it deserves. So what story would you choose first? You don't necessarily have to begin with your earliest memory. A better place to begin is with a story that has a clear emotional connection for you. Here's the sentence that I promised you at the beginning of the video. One story I would not want my family to lose is ... Take a moment and think about that sentence. One story I would not want my family to lose is... So what came to mind? Perhaps it was a story about one of your parents or your grandparents. Maybe it was something funny that happened when your children were young, or it could be a difficult experience that taught you an important lesson. The first story that comes to mind may be a good place to begin because there is usually a reason it has remained with you. Your first digital story does not need to be complicated. Here is a manageable starting point. Choose one meaningful story, write approximately 300 to 500 words, select 1 to 5 photographs, create a finished digital story that is approximately 2 to 5 minutes long. And that's all you need for your first project. You don't need every photograph connected to the event. If no photographs exist, you can use a picture of the location or an object connected to the memory, a map, a document, or other image that helps you establish the time and the place. You also don't need to become a professional writer, a video editor, or a web designer. The goal is not to create the perfect documentary. The goal is to complete and preserve one meaningful story. Once you have completed one, you can create another over and over. And over time, those individual stories can grow into a meaningful collection. This is the approach we use in Your Stories Online, Write, Record, and Share course. We begin by helping you choose a manageable story, then we guide you step by step as you turn that memory into a focused written narrative. Combine it with your photographs, record it, and a created finished digital story, one that you can share with your family, is there. You won't be expected to master everything at once. Each stage builds on the one before it, with practical guidance and coaching and support along the way. At the beginning of this video, the challenge may have sounded like this. My life story is too large and I don't know where to begin. I've fallen and I can't get up. But now you have a much more manageable way to think about it. I can begin with one meaningful memory and complete one story at a time. You don't need to organize your entire life before you begin. You only need to identify one story that you would not want to lose. So here's your first action step. Take out a piece of paper, open a document on your computer, or use the Notes app on your phone and write this sentence. One story I would not want my family to lose. And then complete it. Don't worry about writing the full story yet. Just write down the memory. And if you can, add one sentence explaining why it matters to you. That small step will become the beginning of your first digital story. In the next video in this series, we'll look at how to turn that memory into a short, focused story without trying to include every detail or worrying about whether you're a good writer. If you would like step-by-step help choosing, writing, recording, and sharing your notes, you'll find more information about the Life Stories Online course in the description below, and also a link to a handout called the Story Theme Planner that will help you gain some clarity on the story ideas you might want to share. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, and don't miss the videos in the series in which we'll go into greater detail the write, record, and share process. Your entire life story does not have to be finished today, but one story can begin today. And that may be the story your family is most grateful that you preserved. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.